Discovery, this is the Weather Channel. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
All right, great. Thanks, guys, for joining us today. I guess tomorrow is the first of 2 historic space walks. How do you prepare for this type of mission?
Our preparation begins years in advance when we first show up here for our candidate training. We spend time in what's called a neutral buoyancy laboratory. It's a giant pool with a one-to-one mock-up of the space station and the shuttle. We use the same suits that we use for our spacewalks in the pool, and it gives us the advantage of being able to work in where we're floating as if we're in zero gravity. Once we get a mission assigned, we actually go over the choreography of what the different tasks will be, and we'll run through those 5 or 6 times for each of our spacewalks in the pool.
Okay, and let's just kind of, on a normal day, what does your day consist of?
Well, a normal day on the space station and on the shuttle varies. So we have a big schedule. A lot of us are going and doing different things, but a typical day, we're doing maintenance. We have a lot of cargo that we're transferring over to space station. There's things that we want to bring down as well. On our flight yesterday, after we docked, we had to transfer ELC-4, which is basically a big pallet that's in the bay that's going to hold the equipment on the outside of the space station. We're carrying on the in the payload bay of the shuttle a PMM, which is a big container that a module that we're going to attach onto the space station. So there's a lot of things that we do from day to day. So each of our days is different, but they're all fun.
Okay, and what do you hope to accomplish from this mission?
Well, our primary objectives, of course, is to get up and install the Express Logistics Carrier, which we did yesterday with spares for the external space station, and deliver the permanent multi-purpose module that Eric just mentioned, which is essentially a pressurized module that will be a badly needed stowage for the space station. In addition, we're doing some spacewalks to do some cleanup activities, some more assembly work, and a lot of robotics operations to support that. So I would say those are our primary objectives: is to outfit the station best we can here as we approach the end of the shuttle program, get as much upmass as possible to them, and situate the space station to keep flying out to 2020.
Okay, and what are some of the items you've taken on board? Any special items, kind of get you through the mission?
Well, of course, we have all the manifested items, which Steve and Eric mentioned, the things like the big modules and that kind of thing. But we also have food items that we bring. We've got one special meal that we've prepared that hopefully we'll enjoy on Flight Day 8 with the station crew, special foods from the ground. And then each of us tries to bring something from home to have up here with us. But mostly, without bringing anything, this is just an amazing place to be, and it's the stuff that's around you here that I think that we appreciate and enjoy the most.
Okay, and last question. How does it feel overall to be on such a historic mission?
Well, I actually, Mike Barrett here, I spent 6.5 months here in 2009, and I loved it up here. I didn't want to leave. So for me, the mission has a lot of meaning. It's a return, and just getting back to this magnificent stack has been incredible. It's a little bit bigger than I left it. But as Steve said, we're bringing the assembly of the station to a close. We're delivering the last U.S. module up here, and then it's pretty much built, more or less. And this mission kind of marks a turning point where from now on, we're mostly using the station to get science, to get a lot of engineering know-how to hopefully enable us to go further one day. So there's a lot that we're learning up here, and it's just a magnificent place. So I think that's really the meaning of this mission to me.
guys. We're proud of you, and good luck.
Discovery ISS, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Weather Channel portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from WBZ Radio.
Discovery ISS, this is WBZ Radio. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
Glad to be here. I'd like to begin with a question for Shuttle Commander Stephen Lindsay. It's now day 4 of your scheduled 12-day shuttle mission. You've brought with you this time not only a logistics module for doing more experiments on board the space station, but also a human-like robot, Robonaut 2. What is R2, and how will it be used?
Robonaut 2 is essentially, it's in cooperation with NASA and General Motors, but it's a technology demonstrator. It's a human-like robot, at least from the waist up. And the intent by bringing it up here is they're going to install it, and they're going to start doing some basic tasks with it to see how it works in space, and also to look at it operationally and decide, how would you best use a human-like robot in space? What sort of tasks to use it for? So it's a technology demonstrator, doing a little bit of science with it, and then a lot of operations with it to determine in the future, is there a place for a human-like robot in space to help us? And if so, then how would we use that?
A follow-up for Commander Lindsay. This is your 5th shuttle mission, the 3rd aboard Discovery. As you lifted off last Thursday, what were your thoughts as Discovery began its final mission after 27 years of flying?
Well, I think all of the crew has had a lot of thoughts about this being the last flight of the Discovery, as well as the tremendous folks on the ground that have been helped out, thousands and thousands of workers that have really worked on the vehicle since about 1984. So we all think about that, but the truth is, once we get close to launch countdown, we're not really thinking about Discovery's last flight. We're thinking about doing our job. So honestly, from prior to liftoff on through liftoff and ascent, we're primarily focused on our jobs. Having said that, it's a real privilege to be on this last flight of Discovery, and I have flown her 3 times now, and she's just a great vehicle still.
Well, here in Boston, we're quite interested in our 2 local astronauts, mission specialist Stephen Bowen of Cohasset and flight engineer Katie Coleman of Shelburne Falls. First, Katie, I saw in one interview that you did that you play the flute in space, continuing to keep up hobbies from home. Describe the camaraderie, if you will, aboard the space station, especially when you have new guests. It must be a red-letter day when a new shuttle crew arrives.
Well, there's 6 of us aboard here before STS-133 showed up. 2 Americans, 1 Italian, 3 Russians. And, we're all different kinds of people, but we have a common goal, and that is to live and work in space and see what, see what great things that we can do from here. To me, it's just it's a marvelous place to live and work. And when these folks showed up, I'll tell you, I didn't realize maybe that I'd been a little lonely until you got here. And it's just so nice to see other people and talk about different things, and also just bring some new perspective and new excitement. Even on a place as marvelous as the space station, sometimes you wake up going, okay, it's another day in space. And I think new folks bring a perspective that we're really pretty lucky to be up here in such a special place.
This question is for Mission Specialist Stephen Bowen. You have 2 spacewalks scheduled. Outline what your objectives are during both.
Well, tomorrow we'll have our first spacewalk, and our objective tomorrow is really to set up so they can install the PMM the following day. After that, we're going to reposition the pump module, which failed this summer. We're going to put it back to its carrier, basically, where it will be taken down on a later flight. And then after that, we'll be moving on to a lot of cleanup tasks if we have the time. Those are the 2 primary objectives for tomorrow. The next EVA, we're kind of all over station. Al's on one side, I'm on the other. We have a carrier that's coming off to Columbus, is going back to the payload bay. Al's got a lot of work to do on the back side of the truss, trying to repair some radiator beams that didn't quite fit the last time somebody tried to fix them, so Al's got that on his plate. So really, it's a lot of tasks all over the station.
You were assigned to this mission after a fellow astronaut, Tim Coper, was scratched following a bicycle accident in mid-January. Did the relatively short notice make it more difficult to prepare?
Well, yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of things I don't know that I'm trying to catch up that are specific to this mission. But these guys have been training together for so long, and they know this mission so well. They've been able to pick up the slack that I kind of brought on board. And they've got me covered pretty well. Plus, they put together these EVAs so well. The choreography is so clean. Tim and Al did such a fantastic job, as did the guys on the ground, the training and engineering support, as well as Tim.
Stephen, do you look for home, Boston, as you circle the Earth?
I haven't had a chance to yet on this mission, but the last mission, absolutely spent some time looking down. Got some great pictures coming up the coast that I managed to share on a couple of visits back home. On the previous mission, I was actually out EVA, and Eric was on the flight deck and called out and said, we're about to go up over Boston, but the sun's setting. So I couldn't see the ground, but it was one of those events where they could see the space station passing overhead as I was outside. So I waved down to my sister, who I know was outside, waving back up.
My last question is for Shuttle Commander Stephen Lindsay. Discovery is going to be housed at the Smithsonian. You have such extensive knowledge of the shuttle. If you were going to play tour guide, what would you most want to show visitors?
That's a good question. I guess what I would really want is I would want visitors to get a perspective of the shuttle like we have. To me, it's if you're going to display one of these, ideally what I like is I like an opportunity for people to be able to not only get up close and personal, look around the outside of the vehicle, but maybe take a walk through the payload bay and see what's out in the payload bay, where all the cargo that we carry, because there's not a vehicle that's ever been able to lift as much as we can into low Earth orbit, and I don't think there will be for quite some time in the future. But I also like them to be able to get on board in the mid-deck and the flight deck and experience what it's like to fly the vehicle, as well as what it's like to live in the vehicle, because we not only obviously fly it and take it up into space, but we live in it for days on end. So I guess what I'd really like is for the way to be displayed, display in such a way, and I'm not sure how to do this, such that everybody can walk through and get a sense of what it was like to fly and what it's like to live in this spacecraft in space.
Well, thank you all for your time. We wish you a successful mission aboard Discovery's final flight.
Thank you very much.
Discovery ISS, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the WBZ radio portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from WSB TV.
Discovery ISS, this is WSB TV. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
It is an honor to be here. Thank you very much. It sounds like you all had a long first night on this mission. I want to hear all about that in a minute. But first, I want to ask Atlanta's hometown hero, Colonel Eric Bowe, the pilot of the shuttle, about that 360-degree backflip you performed with the shuttle before connecting to the space station. How do you practice that, and how did things look under there?
Well, actually, we were really commenting. We practiced it a lot of times in the simulator, but when you see it in real life, it looks a lot different. How big the space station is incredible. We come up to 600 feet below the space station, and then we basically just pitch around 360 degrees, and you get some really good views from the space shuttle. You see it out the front windows, out the back windows, and up through the top windows, and it's truly a sight to see. And when you add in the effect that you have the Earth going on underneath you, it's really amazing.
And how did things look under there? Everything check out okay?
Yeah, everything looks great, and everything's looking great on our side as well. And we're getting ready to put the PMM on here shortly. So let's add that last piece on the U.S. side, and station will. station will be complete.
Quite a move there. Commander Lindsay, what happened last night? What major milestones do you want to accomplish on this mission?
Well, we went a little late last night. Once we got docked, and I think we docked pretty close to on time, we basically have to retract the docking ring, which brings the space station space shuttle together so we can form a pressure seal. And it was a little misaligned, which is fairly common, so it took us a little bit longer than we expected to get fully docked and pressurized and get the hatches open. But the first activity we needed to do, the big one, was to install the Express Logistics Carrier, which is a carrier that carries external payloads on the outside of the space station and spares, things like that. So we had to install that robotically, which required what's called a double walk-off of arms, where we used both the shuttle and the station arm to do it. So it was a complex robotic scenario we had to go through. We got a late start, and as a result, we got a late finish. But we really wanted to get it done last night, and so we all elected to stay up just a little bit late to get it done. And I'm happy to say that it was successful.
Wonderful news. You all look great considering that. And Colonel Bowe, this is Discovery's last flight. So what's next for you, along with all the other crew members, and for the shuttle mission itself?
Well, that's a great question. You know, there's you know, for the future after the shuttle, those things are being worked out right now. Decisions are being made on high for future vehicles. We're looking at commercial vehicles to carry astronauts up to the space station. Obviously, we'll continue coming up to the space station on board Soyuzes. As far as me personally, that's one of the things. Yeah, I would love to have the chance to fly on up to space station and get the chance to live up here, like Katie and Scott, for up to 6 months. That would be a great opportunity, but obviously there's a lot of other people who would like to do that as well, so have to see how those things work out. You know, that's one of the mysteries of life of an astronaut, is how you get assigned to a mission. So if I'm lucky enough, I'd like to do it again.
Fantastic. Well, with moves like that, I'm sure you'll get a chance. This last question to anybody who wants to chime in here, but I remember the first shuttle flight back in 1981. My 3 daughters don't. They have no idea. Do you think space travel is getting to be old news? What's next for NASA after the shuttle program is retired?
Well, I think the objective that NASA set out back in '58 was that space travel shouldn't really be news after a while. It should be part of our routine existence. And so to think that we've had the space station continually inhabited for the last 10 years, so there are 5th graders who've never known the space station not to be in space with astronauts on board, I think is a major success, a milestone for NASA. So what I look forward to in the future is when space travel becomes routine. Just as back in the 1930s only daredevils and barnstormers took to the skies, and now we have everybody flying around on airlines, at some point before these children become old, we should have routine travel, people above the planet here, above Earth here, and maybe traveling out to the moon. For NASA, I think to push out into the solar system is what's next for us. To go to the moon, go to Mars, the asteroid belt, to go and explore, to push out the frontiers, which we've been doing since 1958.
Commander Lindsay, I know I'm running out of time, but tell us finally what you hope the shuttle will be remembered, how it will be remembered, especially as it goes into the museum.
I think it's the unique thing about the shuttle is its ability to carry large payloads and people into space and back. It's been a workhorse for nearly 30 years, I guess, now, and I think what it'll be remembered for, the way I think about the shuttle, when you really look at it and what we've done with it, the space shuttle can do everything except leave low Earth orbit. It can carry payloads and people into space. We can do science with it. We dock with space stations. We turned it into orbiting laboratories. We've done extensive robotics operations as well as spacewalks with it. And so if you really look at what the shuttle can do, it can do everything you can think of pretty much in space, and it lands on a runway. And so I think the class of spacecraft we'll see in the future again someday. I don't know when, but I think it's going to be a long, long time before we see a vehicle that can lift and do as many things as the shuttle can. So I think it'll be remembered fondly as a great success and a great design that will probably be repeated in the future.
Commander, Colonel, everybody on board, thank you very much. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you. Enjoyed talking to you.
Discovery ISS, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the WSB-TV portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from WTVT-TV.
Discovery ISS, this is WTVT-TV. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate you taking out your time. First of all, what is it like knowing this is the very last mission for Discovery?
Well, Discovery is a really historic vehicle in a lot of ways. It took its name from a lot of ships of exploration over many centuries, and it comes with a pretty rich heritage, and it's really lived up to that. And when you think about when you retire a vehicle, usually it's when it's old and dilapidated, but Discovery is at the top of her game. She just performed magnificently getting us up here, and that's pretty much what you need for spaceflight. It's where technology has to work at its cutting edge. And Discovery's still doing that, so I think we're all going to be kind of sad to see it go. But I think it needs to be replaced by something that can do more things, different things, and we're going to remember Discovery and all the shuttle fleet, I think, is the most capable vehicles that have ever flown in space.
Well, tomorrow is your mission's first big spacewalk, and the question is for Mission Specialist Steve Bowen. You were a latecomer to this mission since Timothy Copra broke his leg before the mission. Did he give you any sort of pointers before you left?
Actually, Tim's been integral to my learning the spacewalks. He's been out at our NBL runs. I've visited him several times, talked to him on the phone, trying to make sure I understand the procedures. You come in late, and Tim and Al had already choreographed these procedures and were ready to run them months ago before the first delay. So stepping in late, I'm relying on their choreography, and so I'm learning from them.
Well, this question is for Mission Specialist Nicole Stott. We're very proud to have you as our hometown astronaut. Is your family keeping tabs on you, and how do you communicate with them?
Yeah, of course they're keeping tabs on me, and thanks for following the missions again. We have a number of ways to communicate from up here. One is via email, which we uplink and downlink several times a day, so we use that. But also, now that we're here with the space station, we have an IP phone, basically a phone through the computer and the satellite system that we can use to call home, and that's probably the best way, along with the coverage from NASA TV. But really a good platform up here for staying in touch with your family.
Well, Nicole, do you think growing up in Florida made you more interested in space since you were geographically so close to the shuttle program and NASA?
Yeah, I think that it probably did. It certainly puts it right out there for you. You can't help but be excited about opportunities that you have right there for yourself to see launches, to know that the Kennedy Space Center is over there, and I was very fortunate as well to have a father who was very passionate about flying and got me interested in that, which then kind of evolved into the spaceflight thing as well. So I think being in Florida definitely helped.
Well, very nice. Is there anything you'd like to say to your family and friends in Tampa Bay?
Well, I'd like to say thanks again to all of them, all of you that I know were watching launch and that will continue to follow the mission until we're safely back there with you. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, and keep an eye on NASA TV and your news station as well for what's going on up here.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We have a question for everybody. What's it like staying at the International Space Station? Is it more like a Motel 6 or more like the Ritz? What's it like up there?
Ritz, baby. No.
Very nice. And one more question: Do you guys have the ability to watch the Oscars tonight, or are you even interested? Will you be watching if you can, or is it mostly just get updates? Or how do you guys get information like that up there?
Yeah, we could actually watch it while we have the satellite coverage, which is probably about 45 minutes an hour. So if we chose to, we could have the ground send it up over a computer software program. And I really wasn't aware that it was tonight, but potentially we could watch it if we weren't working.
Sure, I'm sure it's not the most pressing thing on your mind right now. But we thank you for your time. We hope you guys have a successful mission. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us today.
You're very welcome.
Discovery ISS, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Duffy. Here we go. And thanks to the Weather Channel, WBZ Radio, WSB TV, and WTVT TV, Discovery and ISS, we're now resuming operational audio comm.
This is Mission Control. The Expedition